Hello, it's Robert Miner with Dynamic Traders Group with our DT Trade Strategies video for the week beginning June 7th, 2021. This is a 5 or 10 minute video. We take a look at one or two markets that might have a trade setup coming up or something interesting about them in the next week. And if you like what you learn here, is check out my book, High Probability Trading Strategies, or check out our DT reports, where you get updates every day. And as we're going to see in today's video, how the technical position can change day by day, not substantially, but let's say subtly. The trade strategy will change slightly from what the plan is, but it's like trading Zen. You go with the flow, you go with the changes, and you adjust your plan slightly. And let's begin with that said, and let's take a look at the SPX. We took a look at that last week. There's a nice lesson to learn here, why you have to keep updated on this every day. So this is the SPX 60-minute data. If you take a look at last week's video, this would have been Friday of last week, right around in this time period, is we were looking at a possible A, B, C correction going into Thursday's or Friday's high, and which would be followed by a daily, at least a daily high, and 3 to 5 days or more of sideways to down. Well, of course, we just had 2 days sideways to down, and then we've made a new high essentially on Friday. And what it ended up being, those 2 days down, was just almost a perfect ABC correction. Well, given that that happened, that's the market reality. We got to take another look at it and see where we're at for trade strategy wise. If you happen to have done a short trade back here, which I did, you took a very small loss if you exited that trade. I exited the trade above this little swing high that was made on Wednesday, because that was affect the probable wave B high if the market was making a correction. So again, you have to adjust your stops. You got to get out quick. Small loss, no big deal. Then you want to take a look at it and say, well, what's going on? Has anything significant changed other than the short-term pattern? And the answer to that is no. Nothing significant has changed. I'm going to go to the daily data. Here's the daily data, and the daily momentums a week ago were dual look back overbought. They're in a position to complete a daily high. And then they made a bear reversal on, I think it was on Wednesday or Thursday, made a bear reversal, even though we had a new high on Friday. Is that what's important to keep in mind is that technical position has not changed, that we're in a position to make a daily high. So you don't want to lose sight of that fact, and you want to look at the short-term pattern, the next time frame down, in the light of the higher time frame pattern. In this case, the daily is likely to make a high, going to last several days. I want you to see one more thing before we move on. These are the recent job reports. It's 3 of the last 4. There was one more of them right around in this area, but I want you to focus on these 3, including the one last Friday. 1 day after, or 1 day before the March job report, that's our employment report that comes the first Friday of each month, 1 day before was a very significant low. At least we could call it a daily low. It's followed by a couple weeks of the market straight up, basically. The May job report was made the exact day of this short-term high, followed by a 3 or 4 day decline to a new recent low. Nothing significant, not a bear trend, but a decline reasonable enough, what we could call a tradable decline. Here we are, Friday, the next jobs report. We trended right up into that report. So what usually happens, not all the time, but usually is that because at this period of our time, economic history, let's say, because of the pandemic and the employment situation, job reports are very sensitive. They're newsworthy, regardless of where it's expected or unexpected. If we have a trend going into a jobs report, we have a very high probability that at least a short-term reversal will be made, like something following the May report, at least a 3 to 5 days reversal in the opposite direction. So when the technical position in this case is overbought and has been for several days, and this is dual look back, it's actually triple tick look back overbought, as I did a little mini tutorial for our subscribers the past week, how important that is to be aware of that. And then if we go down to the 60-minute data and we have a probable end of wave 5 price target just above the market, we're already in pattern-wise, the minimum position to complete this advance from at least the May 12th low, if not going back much further. But 42.52, 42.75 should be the maximum upside before we complete that daily high. And more than likely, we would complete that daily high by Monday, the day after the Friday jobs report. So once again, if you're interested in what we do here, and if you'd like to be kept up to date every day on the changes that occur and which changes are important and which aren't particularly important, consider a subscription to the DT Report. Let's take a look at one more that, and it's in a fantastic position. You're going to love this, the technical position, and that's Bitcoin. So here's Bitcoin daily data. And let me walk you through this because this will be in a book someday or on a webinar or something because it's so perfect. We'll see how it turns out, if it continues to be perfect or not. But coming off of the April high, we had just a beautiful 5-wave decline for 7 days for a wave 1. We then had an A, B, C, D, E correction for wave 2. That was 11 days up. By the way, that first decline was almost 27%. Then we had a rally of 25%. Then we had another 7-day decline, another almost ideal 5 waves to complete a wave 3 of almost 50% from that May high. Boy, this Bitcoin really makes some big moves in a short amount of time, doesn't it? And then over the last couple of weeks, the last 11 trading days, once again, the exact same number of days as what I got labeled a wave 2, a probable wave 4. Notice I say probable, hasn't proved itself out yet. But again, a choppy A, B, C, D, E, we call that a contracting triangle. And when it's complete, usually there's a pretty sharp move out of it. And just think of this as it's a spring being wound up. And the more than likely, it's going to spring out to the downside. Daily momentums are reached dual look back overbought a couple of days ago on Friday. These daily momentums made a dual look back bear reversal from the overbought zone. That's a very reliable signal that we've probably completed what we call a daily high. Daily high is usually followed by 3 to 5 trading days, sideways to down. And in the last 2 cases, it was 7 trading days. Both declines were 7 trading days. If by chance this next decline is 7 trading days, it would be sideways to down into June 14th. So that's about a little over a week from now. Not this coming week, but it would continue into the following week. So that's just something to be aware of. It's not a forecast. It's not a it's just not a forecast. But certainly, if Bitcoin continues lower and approaches June 14th and the other technical positions are oversold, we would be in a really good position to be prepared for a low. And in this case, it'd probably be a low lasting several weeks because this is a 5-wave decline and we should complete what we call a weekly low. Now, if Bitcoin continues to decline, it will more than likely the ideal target zone is going to be around 26,600 down to 22,200. So that's another, what's that, another I think that's another good 20% decline from where it's at now. It's just going to wash out an awful lot of Bitcoin fanatics. By the way, if you think Bitcoin is something that has any kind of fundamental value and is going to be a currency replacement or something like that, you're really dreaming. But the problem with that is you're probably going to lose all your money at some point in time because you're thinking of it as something that it's not. It's just a speculative vehicle. And it's one of the most perfect speculative vehicles because it has no intrinsic value. It has no use whatsoever. And that's what makes it pure speculation, pure optimism and pessimism, and why it responds so good technically. This top that was made on Thursday was made right in the projected time for a top, June 3rd. And that's where there are two key time factors, the high to high to high, as well as the 100% alternate time projection of the wave 2. They both fell on Thursday the 3rd. So far, anyway, that's the top. And on Friday, we made the bear reversal, and the daily momentums made a two-close reversal. That means we closed below the closes of the past 2 days. More than likely going to be down at least for a few days, and the ideal target on the downside begins at about 26,600. So that's where we're at with Bitcoin right now. The other thing to be aware of, if we make that another 20% or so decline down to 26,600, and that at that period of time, and we'll be on top of the technicals then, also would be looking for potentially a pretty significant low. So we'll keep our subscribers up to date on that every day, as well as, again, once again, if you like what you learn here, think about a DT Report subscription, because we update this every day. So if the market does something to invalidate our probable outlook, bang, we let you know about it right away. Because whenever you believe you understand the position of the market and the probable outcome, you have to then identify specifically what the market can do to invalidate that probable outcome and what that means as well. And then you have to develop a specific trade strategy, and that means not just a general, I think the market's going down. That means what's the specific price that I buy or sell, where specifically do I put my stop, and that's a trade strategy. There isn't a trade strategy in that, well, I think we're making a wave 4 high and we're probably going to go down to 26,600. Okay, you got that information. How do you trade it? That's what's important. That's what this is all about. Well, that's it for today. Robert Miner, over and out.